finish up Yoda's ears today so that we can move on to Yoda's robe in our next video.
We're going to use our green yarn and make that slip stitch the same as we did with the hands. And put your crochet hook in. And then just go ahead and crochet twice. So just 2 single crochets. Then we're going to go back in that first stitch and we're going to do 6 single crochets in that one stitch. So there's 1, and remember that kind of takes us into the round again. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, and 6. Okay, gonna pull that tail and just kind of tighten up the hole. And the ears only have 2 rounds, but they do get a little tricky. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in each of the next stitches. So we come right over here and do 2 single crochets in the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2 in one stitch. Moving on to the next stitch, we do 1, 2. And then moving on to the third stitch, we do 1 and 2. After that, we're going to do a half double crochet and a double crochet in the next stitch. So for a half double crochet, you wrap your needle, push it through, pull, wrap and pull back, and you'll end up with 3 stitches. Then you're going to pull through all 3. That's a half double crochet. In the same stitch, you're going to do a double crochet. So you'll wrap, insert back into the same stitch, pull through, you'll have the 3. You're going to wrap and pull through 2, and wrap and pull through 2. So we did a half double crochet and a double crochet in the same stitch. Then we're going to reverse, and in the next stitch we're going to do a double crochet first. So you're going to wrap and pull through 2 and 2, and then in the same stitch do a half double crochet. We just pull through all 3. And then we slip stitch into the next one, which is just pulling through and just pulling this off because we're finishing that ear. And now we're just going to cut a length of yarn because we'll use that to sew his ears to his head. And just pull that through and tighten it off. So make that ear. We'll do 2 of those and be right back to fasten them. We have both ears completed and they're relatively the same size. I'm not going to lie, I had to redo an ear because I crocheted too tight on one and I wanted them to be the same size. The ears are going to show. So what you're going to do is you're going to thread the long piece of yarn and you're going to just take a couple of stitches in Yoda's ear to close off the part that is going to be attached to his head. Because if you look at the picture, you've got the ears open towards the front. So we're just going to stitch a couple of stitches right there at the end and leave this part open. We'll come back and weave this piece in after we're attached to the head. I think will be the easiest way to do that. So we're going to come right over here to his head and kind of decide where you want that ear to be. And you're going to again put it on just like you would, like you did with the arms. You're going to come through, the part you stitch together actually ends up being the pointy part of his ears. So let's take our yarn and kind of weave it back through so that we have the flatter part to attach to the head. It's going to be an easier way to attach it. So just coming like this, now you've got this end of your yarn next to where the head's next to where you're going to put it into the head, and you're just going to see if I can do this on camera. It'll be easier for you because you're not going to be trying to film it as well. Looks like they're just going to come a little below the eye until we get up to beyond the eye. So I'm going straight up from the shoulder, and I'm just going to stitch that ear in place if I can. Maybe I'll take a stitch first where I want it, and then pull the ear up to it. That's a little bit easier to connect. So I'm going to take the stitch. I've got my ear in place, but it's not at all tacked as tight as it needs to be, so I'm going to take a few more stitches in there, and we're going right into the head through the ear. So we want that to be on there good and tight. And again, you know, make your placement whatever looks good for your Yoda. And I'm just going to continue to kind of weave back and forth and make sure that I've got that ear on securely. Because again, if I'm going to let little hands play with this, you don't want the ear being pulled off. Kind of afraid my yarn that wouldn't push back through my needle. Again, I don't want you to worry about that piece that's in the back. Well, we will hide that in a minute. So go ahead and get your stitching as tight as you need it to be to secure your ear. The ears are definitely harder to put on than the arm was. And then Lucy Collins suggests that you just take the remainder of your yarn and put it right through his head where you want the next ear to come out or to start being stitched on. So I'm going to give that a try. It does make a lot of sense to do it that way. I've got it really secure. Okay, I've got his ear here. Grab my other ear. And as you can see, I've got the long tail of my other ear, and I think what I'm going to do is just on this side, take a couple stitches and tie this one off. Just a couple of those back stitches to know that's secure. And then I'm going to clip it and work with my other ear and the long tail that I left on that other ear. I think that'll be easier. So I see that little lump there. That's where I'm going to start this ear. Go ahead and take a stitch in there and pull the ear up to placement. Oh, you know what I forgot to do, guys? I forgot to take my stitches on this ear. We need to stitch it down like we did the other one. So a couple of stitches here in the end. To make that point. And then we still want that flat open piece, so we're going to weave our yarn back to the flat side, just like we did with the other one. Now we have that little indentation in our ear. Now we're ready to put it on. So take that first stitch in there where we want that placement to be, and start stitching that ear in place nice and tight. to take a few from the back side here. I just don't feel like it's securely attached to Yoda's head yet. These ears are going to be just a bit floppy, so we'll want to kind of place them and position them when we're done. To give them that look, that Yoda look. And then take that through. I think we'll do the same thing. Push to the other side of the head. We know it's going to make it secure. We can take a few back stitches in the other ear to secure that. And then go ahead and take that tail, ouch, through to the back and clip it off. Now for our little stragglers, I'm going to slip right in here to hide that. See if I can just come through with my crochet hook and kind of pull that tail to the inside. And since it's all the same color, I'm just going to weave it back in. Now that I have it a little closer to the head, I'm going to come in from the back and grab it and bring it through. Okay, clip that tight right against his skull. Get that stuffing that I pulled out, kind of put back in. And I'm going to come over to the other side and do the same thing. I need to bring that green tail a little closer to the head so that I can grab it and tuck it away inside the head and it won't show. So we need to hide that tail. There we go. That one was a little smoother. Okay, and then just clip it off. And there we have Yoda's eyes, mouth, his ears, his arms. And again, if you guys want, I'd love to see the pictures of your Yoda in the comment section.
Hey, thanks for watching today and following along with Yoda's ears. Please join me next week when we'll begin the robe. Hope to see you then. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Have a great day.